Welcome. This is Thursday's news. I'm Charmaine Poreambe. Several rubber plantation workers at an estate in the Central Province are concerned over their welfare after continuous underpayment of their salaries and terrible living conditions for its staff. Many of these workers were brought in from all parts of the country, promised the full benefits of work, only to find they would only be paid 150 kina per fortnight. In 2019, several staff who protested such treatment from the company were forced to leave the plantation.
Sprayers, employees of the Gym 777 Gully Rich Holdings Limited, operator of the Doa rubber plantation. These are rubber plantation workers. They spray the entire length and breadth of the vast plantation, 8 hours a day, 11 working days a fortnight. But with the tired working condition meeting the job demands, the rewards aren't up to what is required by law. Masked and concerned for their job safety and the company's actions against them, they spoke to us of the situation they face as employees.
Mipla lagi musim, company must at least upim rate belum mipla. Okay, look go back lo living standard belum mipla, all workman blend. Because mipla no stop na about, mipla workman lo company. Na company must pay mipla according lo labor law.
Apart from pay, they also don't have superannuation savings. Further into the heart of the plantation, we find small establishments. These are the homes built by the former plantation operator, probably in the late 70s. They still cater for the first workers who arrived here in the 1980s. For them, they have nothing to lose. They were willing to show face on camera, raising concern over the lack of loyalty from their employer.
Years from me, 47 years. Parent, all this stuff long and all pin stuff, he come in up now. Milapun or Pinini Karam long and Lapun. No got one long good long benefit long company.
Same person tasole Mr. Winter. No got change is come. Gym 7 come to same person. I wish him to look or some, good player, Mr. Tasol. Me hardly go to Balus na Mr. Stab or get at us.
Doa Rubber Plantation was first operated by the British New Guinea Development Company before Gym 777 Gully Rich Holdings Limited took over. After the change in ownership, many have seen the treatment of its labor turn colonial to some extent. In 2019, the rubber company evicted several of its plantation workers after they raised concerns over benefits. The harsh reality of how some foreign companies treat citizens on its own soil.
Plenty all man were all got tin na all got the same. So like confident lo tok also tok on the company. Okay, then all karam go deep or like close to lo over putim company go place kila dislakan company sa rausimol lo work. All family and sa rausimol.
The ex-employees found themselves in Port Moresby and with nowhere to go, slept on the streets, awaiting some form of help or response.
Mi plus silip lo here mosem plenty or street monkey to also come disturb me plus also make you some time plus asleep, some time me play asleep me plus asirani koko too late brook.
In the process, the wife of one of the male workers died while waiting.
Me citizen lo Papua company should treat me the way Papua way me can stand up strong and make him work blame. So as Porona comes treating me or same, underpay me or treating me or same, me playing a one bell.
With 154 kina in their pay packet every fortnight, it's hard to buy even for a plane ticket, especially for those coming in from outside centers. Many who came here during their youth have married, had children and grandchildren who've never set foot back home. They simply can't afford it. This has also affected their children's learning. The sons have only gone to nearby primary school and without financial support have been forced to return back to the rubber plantation to work like those before them.
Mibla no need lo karam go back lo place. All papa mama blo mibla all not bla family blo mibla stable place and all stop what I'm worry. Hana all die not in la. kain tindino ligat. So mibla hard lo go back osena mibla sa start.
They are slaves of the rubber plantation. The situation even made worse by the lack of sanitation and hygiene. With no water, the workers and their families use water from the nearby creeks to wash, cook food and eat. Water that's been contaminated by the chemicals they use to kill weeds and temper for latex from the rubber trees. The families of the rubber plantation workers struggle to survive beneath the rubber forests, only going by each day as it is. The women, resilient, doing subsistence farming to help their husband and children and selling the little items they can for extras. How long this will last, they don't know. They want authorities to see their plight and help them. Many of them are generational rubber plantation workers. They fear for the next and what the future holds. They don't want their grandchildren to be the next slaves of the rubber plantation. The operator of the plantation, Jim 777 Gully Rich Holdings Limited, have agreed to give a response on these allegations later. Bradley Valenaki, National EMTV News.
Young and Williams lawyer Gregory Shepherd has been arrested by police following criminal investigations into the use of Western Province People's Dividends Community Mine Continuation Agreement, or WPPD CMCA Trust funds. Shepherd is the second to be arrested. He was brought into police headquarters yesterday, questioned and charged with 2 counts of conspiracy and 2 counts of false pretense. The Special Police Forensic and Criminal Investigations alleged that 2 transactions totaling 52 million kina were paid into the Young and Williams lawyer's account, and another 3 transactions totaling 216 million kina were paid into the OTDF RDF Limited account. This is a developing story, and we will keep you informed as investigations by police continues. A consultative meeting is currently underway in Lae between the Morobe Provincial Government Administration and the landowners of Wafi Golpu Mine. The meeting is focused on the review of the provincial government's position paper on Wafi Golpu mining project.
The consultative meeting began on Tuesday in Lae. It was officiated by Morobe Governor Ginsen Saunu. The aim of the workshop is to review the provincial government's original position paper on the Wafi Golpu mining project.
I could have go ahead with the original position paper and allow for it to pass through to Mining and Development Forum by now, but my heart isn't right. I feel I must stop and revisit the position paper so it covers views from everyone.
The review is conducted in consultation between stakeholders, including the provincial government, administration, LLG officers of the mine impact areas, and the landowners.
They have to come and give us their views. How do they want us to negotiate for Wafi? You know, we're saying Wafi should not be easily given away. But what do? Let's not just say, oh, we don't want to see Wafi mine. But what are the thinking behind this? So let's put our ideas together, and then we can tell our national government this is what we want, and if you can consider this appropriate, then let's proceed with Wafi mine. Let's not delay the project.
The original position paper of Morobe Provincial Government was completed in 2019 and consists of over 100 pages. However, it doesn't include business opportunities for the landowners and the provincial government to participate in. This is why the provincial administration, with the support of MPG's advisory team, Albatross Integrated Limited, are working to formulate a reviewed position paper that will cover views of the stakeholders on business opportunities.
Morobe Provincial Government's position is also clear on important issues such as the DSTP and its desire to participate in impact projects from the start. Most of these have been covered in the original position paper. Bikla book Mipla Survey, 178 pages, where Dr. Ben and his team have been working in his law 2019.
The last one is on Friday, which we will be meeting with the landowners, the landowner associations, and after that, over the weekend, we are telling them to come up with a consolidated position So hopefully by the end of the week, next week, we should have a paper that is all put together, the ideas that we generated from this workshop. And then it will be finalized. Of course, we will screen the documents, and then we can do a presentation to the Provincial Executive Council to have it approved before it can further be delivered to the relevant government entities.
Julie Badui, OA, National MTV News, Leh.
About 3,000 illegal settlers at Medang's Nagara settlement will be evicted, and the exercise will continue for the next 15 days. The illegal settlers living on portion 69, 70 and 78 is owned by the Evangelical Lutheran Church of Papua New Guinea.
At midday today, a combined operation by police moved into Nagara settlement to remove illegal settlers. Temporary makeshifts, permanent houses and food gardens, including other properties on portions 69, 70 and 78, will all be destroyed in the coming days. About 350 hectares of church land will be cleared during the operation. The settlers have been issued numerous notices since November of 2017 after ELC PNG won a legal battle over the land.
So we appeal over to talk sabe we can talk sabe finish last year. Na mi sanabi to desa talk sabe na mi make sure the eviction access ba come up from Nagara.
Police under Section 145 of the Constitution will arrest anyone who refuses to vacate or any offense relating to the eviction exercise. Meanwhile, some settlers are calling for more time to be given to allow them to remove their permanent structures.
Paper, nothing. Some of giving finish. Office block governor, office block Lutheran Church, our police, PPC.
Why not all cover ground on a machine? All become combined together so that bomb block on agreement na rent golo machine. Side cover ground, you buy ground golo finish.
However, police will carry out the exercise in all three portions of the land as specified in the initial court order obtained by the church. Martha Lewis, National MTV News, Medang.
You're watching National MTV News. We'll be back with more of the day's stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Work Secretary David Were says building economic roads is the focus for the department. Were says traditional donor partners have backed the department with funding allocation to carry out studies throughout the country. The Work Secretary says road will remain a key infrastructure to rebuild PNG's economy going forward.
In order to meet this, the front end, economic studies, feasibility studies is key, and our two traditional donor partners have already come to our support to conduct major feasibility and economic studies on those corridors. So we are in the process of now acquiring the consultancies and to be engaged and do design and other studies that are necessary to understand the issues and challenges, the cost and the benefits of opening up these roads. And so those are important funding, and those are important work that we are already planning to start this year.
The PNG National Research Institute commissioned 2 independent research reports to inform critical developments in the post-referendum stage of Bougainville. One report is based on the ideas of generating revenues for the autonomous government of Bougainville achieve fiscal independence, whilst the other outlines issues to be considered in building institutions of government of Bougainville under its new political status.
In a referendum conducted in 2019, as provided for in the Bougainville Peace Agreement, 98% of the population voted independence over greater autonomy. This has paved the way for governmental consultation to discuss the future of Bougainville.
Now that these results have been declared and presented to the government, the Governor General, and the results are evident, the two governments, the government of PNG and the government of Bougainville, are in a consultation process to discuss on the future political arrangements of Bougainville and then present a report to Parliament for ratification in Parliament.
For a state to be a sovereign country, it needs to have sound revenue-generating mechanisms to generate revenue to run the country and its affairs. Apart from revenue-generating sources like the Panguna mine, fisheries and tourism, Dr. Webster also stressed the importance of VAT, or value-added tax, of how it contributes to the national economy.
Bougainville has a huge challenge that there is close to 500 million or more spent on government services in Bougainville, or running government in Bougainville, but the revenue is around 50 million, 47 million as pointed out to the recent. So there's a big gap between what finances are raised within Bougainville and the total budget expenditure. And so how do we now raise or help Bougainville to think of ways to raise the revenues in terms of filling that gap between what it's able to raise and what its expenditure requirements are.
The two reports include institution building in post-referendum Bougainville and increased revenue for the Bougainville government. Alexis Sengi, National EMTV News.
The Autonomous Region of Bougainville President Ishmael Torama and members of his cabinet convened the first Bougainville Executive Council, or BEC, meeting yesterday. Key agendas in the BEC are the impending Joint Supervisory Body meeting with Prime Minister James Morobe and the national government, as well as the presentation of the 100 days reports of each cabinet minister's 100 days report. Several ministers also made their submissions for cabinet to deliberate on in their respective departments. President Torama said the BEC will be holding its meetings in the other districts on Bougainville to give the people an opportunity to engage with their leaders. Japan International Cooperation Agency, or JICA, has donated 25,000 face masks to the National Department of Health. Dr. Paison Dakulala received the donation on behalf of the Health Department. Dr. Dakulala says it is important for all to know that the virus is real, and so wearing face masks is important.
The pandemic rocked the world, closing borders, trade, businesses, and sports events. As an effort to reduce the cases of COVID-19 in the nation, JICA, on behalf of a Japanese private company called Fenco Corporation, donated the 25,000 face masks to NDOH through its JICA Volunteer Smile for All in the World program.
On behalf of the people of Japan, to the people of the PNG, through JICA, purposely to counter further spread and the transmission of COVID-19.
The country's COVID-19 cases now stands at 844 with 9 known deaths. A total of 40,697 people have tested for COVID-19. 800 people have recovered, whilst 10 samples are pending at the laboratories. 35 active cases are in isolation. While there is no cure for COVID-19 in the nation, prevention is better than cure, will be our best solution against the disease.
I think we need to be all serious about the measures that are straightforward and easier. Social distancing, wearing the masks, and all the washing hands and cough with etiquette, and all of that. So we need to go in an aggressive way. Remember what I said, we are in a community transmission, which is different from sporadic or just, cases that are 1 or 2. So, it's the whole community, so we all have to take it on board seriously.
The Health Department is yet to decide on the use of vaccination for Papua New Guinea. Gertrude Gabi, National EMTV News.
And now looking at the Nest Fund market report, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.2850 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, The Kina is buying $0.2775 US dollars, 0.3534 Australian dollars, 0.2209 euro and 28.06 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading higher, coffee, cocoa and copper closed lower, palm oil closed higher, crude oil is trading lower and copper closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 257.86 points higher. The ASX 200 is trading at 53.29 points higher, and the All Ordinaries is trading at 56.09 points higher. More stories after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Communities in Northern Province today mark the 70th anniversary of the Mt Lamington eruption, a disaster that killed more than 4,000 people in 1951. At Hohorita village, where one of the care centers was built, old men and women cried as they remembered how many of their family members died in the eruption. Our Deputy Regional Head of News, Scott Waide, has been researching some of the history that has not yet been written. He brings us tonight's special report from Popondetta.
It's early morning at Hohorita village, a few kilometers outside of Popondetta town. Organizers of the 70th anniversary commemoration are putting together the final touches to preparations as they wait for guests to arrive. And while at one level it is a solemn occasion, the remembrance of 4,000 men, women and children who died, it is also a celebration of life, and for the devout Anglican communities, a resurrection, a revival.
As soon as the lightning struck, the vegetation went into flames.
It was painful. People lost relatives, wives lost husbands, parents lost children. Nobody knew where each person was going to. They were running for their life.
Hohorita is a village that grew from a post-eruption settlement. People originally came from the foothills of the volcano. And after their villages were destroyed, the survivors were resettled here. And the traditional owners of the land were kind and generous, the survivors said.
There are many different stories, and depending on who you talk to, but I would tend to focus on the stories of the people of the vicinity where the eruption took place. And their stories suggest that the figure is far beyond the 5,000 that was originally estimated as being the figure of people who perished, the number of people who perished.
A lot of the history about the Mt Lamington eruption has to be rediscovered. And after 70 years, records on the Papua New Guinea side still remain part of oral history that has to be drawn from the mental archives of the elders who are in possession of it.
My clan, the survivors were only two. That's my father's brother and my father. And those two, they were out of the province. We have no record. So it's totally lost. For me to tell you a story would be a hearsay from what I hear.
Rediscovering that history has been like putting together pieces of a puzzle. And while I knew something about Mt Lamington, I never really delved into the massive relief operation that followed and the subsequent resettlement of people. Only when you speak to the elders, you get a sense of the unimaginable pain they went through, and many of them were very young. All of the survivors of the Mt Lamington eruption are in their 70s and 80s. We had the honor of meeting 4 of them, and one of them spoke at length about what he saw as an 8-year-old.
There was a thick, dark smoke roll down the hill. That was not a fire smoke, but it was the dust of the mountain or the soil of the mountain. And it was blew up like a smoke, heavy smoke.
The disaster not only destroyed villages and the environment, it killed whole clans and families. Clan systems had to be restructured so that children were cared for. Land boundaries were reimagined and the people resettled.
It altered how clans were structured and land boundaries and such were altered. And sometimes this has caused conflict even up until now.
For the colonial administration, the Mt Lamington eruption triggered the biggest post-war relief operation. The first team into the disaster-stricken area was led by these men, former soldier in Kiap Des Martin, patrol officer Bob Blakey, and volcanologist Tony Taylor. Des Martin was later honored by the Papua New Guinea government with a Logohu Award. Tony Martin's work studying the Mt Lamington volcano identified safe zones where the administration could work through the rescue operation. His work is still classed as one of the best studies of an active volcano. He died on Manam Island in 1972. For the people here in the Northern Province, Anglican missionaries led by Bishop David Hand are still held in high regard for his work in rebuilding communities devastated by the disaster.
The handover takeover for the Energy and Rural Infrastructure Ministerial Portfolio took place today. The outgoing minister, William Onglo, is confident that the ministry will be in good hands with the appointment of the new minister, Saki Soloma.
The handover takeover ceremony was supposed to be attended by the Prime Minister James Morobe. However, he was tied down with his duties and could not make it. Despite that, the event continued successfully with the presence of both the incoming and outgoing ministers. Both acknowledged the Prime Minister and the Cabinet for endorsing the establishment budget for the National Energy Authority.
Third key achievement is funding for the establishment of the National Energy Authority. As soon as Parliament enacts the National Energy Authority Bill 2020, the National Executive Council approved our submission on the 24th November 2020 for the National Energy Authority to be fully funded to regulate the energy sector effectively.
The outgoing Energy and Rural Infrastructure Minister William Onglo is proud of his great achievement, the enactment of the National Energy Authority Bill 2020. Although there were delays for almost 3 years, the bill was endorsed on November 24, 2020 by the NEC. This eventuated within about 8 weeks of his commencement of the Energy Ministry.
The important milestone achieved was the initial funding for all the important national electrification rollout plan, NERO, to provide electricity access to 70% of PNG households by 2030.
And this is a very, very sensitive ministry that will contribute immensely to the coffers of the country as well as to improve the lives of people, especially in terms of lighting and also going into other smaller businesses as well, industries as well. So yes, I will give my best with the guidance of other sister agencies and other ministers, relevant ministers who have functions of energy under them.
The incoming minister, Saki Soloma, is determined to continue with the energy policies, plans and projects for everyone's benefit. He says he is new to this ministerial portfolio, but is willing to do whatever it takes for a better PNG by performing his ministerial duties. Gertrude Gabi, National EMTV News.
The Mosby South electorate is on the roll. It seems the office never sleeps, coming up with projects after projects all over the south side of Port Moresby. This time, attention is given to the Vabukori side of the electorate. The project is Konebada Public Park Development and is expected to transform the Konebada Beach by the end of this year. This is Konebada Beach. It is part of the Mosby South electorate and is listed as a recreational area with NCD. The Mosby South electorate and NCDC have teamed up to transform this once rocky beach to a modern-day recreational facility.
It will have 2 outdoor and indoor cafe restaurants, fully equipped with kitchens, toilet facilities and sitting areas, outside and inside. It will also have 5 house winds, which will be serviced by the cafes on the other side there, which is protected and will be landscaped. The whole of Conibata Beach will get a full upgrade and renovation. As you can see, we are removing all the boulders, the hard coral, and the rocks from the beach. So when we're finished, we'll have a fully sandy beach all the way through the whole bay area here.
What you see here now, the Rocky Beach and the Barren Recreational Park, will all be transformed by the end of this year. This 4 million kina project will provide opportunities for the Motu Koita people. Chachenko says they're in close consultation with the people of Motu Koita, especially the villagers of Vabukori, to see how best they can benefit from this project.
The first priority for any of the facilities and the work here goes to the Motu Koitabo people. I want to make that crystal clear. This area was once, of course, traditional land.
Phoenix Construction has been awarded a contract to transform this beach. Chachenko said the development will be managed by the Moresby South District Office and outsourced to Papua New Guinean professional and qualified companies. Apart from this project, NCD will help to restore the Va'a Centre.
So WAWEM is partnering with NCDC and especially the governor to completely renovate, upgrade that facility and turning it into a training centre. That training centre will be for hospitality, hospitality training, medical and communication and other things that WAWEM do.
And Trukai Sports is next. Kilawani will be back with the details. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Good evening and welcome to Trukai Sports. The Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup, the biggest off-season tournament, is nearing its final stages, with the finals set for the first week of February. The competition for this year was only held in Lae and the Highlands region. CCIC competition manager Sam Coy gave an update.
The Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup has been progressing well in the western end and eastern end in Lae and the Highlands region.
So far, so good. We've got an increase in numbers from most of the Highlands provinces. I think we've starting from Morobe Province all the way to Hela. But we've got 2 exceptions, which is Southern Highlands and Chimba Province. They're actually suspended.
The organizers of CCIC say the biggest off-season tournament will conclude in the first week of February.
With the way we're going, we're trying to do all our pool games by end of January. All the pool games and all the playoffs from all the provinces will be completed. Western End playoffs at Kimil in Jiwaka, and then we'll have the Eastern End playoffs at Lae Rugby League Oval, and then we'll have the grand final also at Lae Rugby League Oval.
A few provinces have missed out this year, especially NCD and Central Province.
NCD and Central not participating, East New Britain's not participating, West New Britain's not participating, East Sepik's not participating, as well as Southern Highlands and Chimbu. So, yeah, with where we are now, it's definitely a big increase.
Some of the provinces have been suspended due to violence in recent tournaments, while others have been abandoned due to the fallout in sponsorship.
We have zero tolerance for violence, and I mean, it's not only our sport, but all sports, we're trying to do away with violence. So it's sad that we had to take this stand because it was only 1 or 2 teams that actually were the main perpetrators. But yeah, we've taken a stand now that we, regardless of whoever does it, then the whole provinces will pay the price, which is no games.
The organizers of this year's tournament say they are focused on having matches in other districts away from the usual venues in the past.
Like in Jiwaka now we've left Minch Rugby League and now we're playing in the district of Kimil. So in Enga, we've actually gone to Sac Valley. So we actually bringing the game to districts now. So similar to Hela, we've actually went up to Komoso.
Fidelis Sukina, Trukai Sports.
And we'll have more sports in action after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. Fuel company Puma Energy today donated 30 Rugby League match balls to the management of team of the Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup. CCIC competition manager Sam Coy said big brand match balls are priced upwards of 200 kina and Puma Energy's donation is greatly appreciated.
The management of the Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup were today presented match balls by fuel company Puma Energy. The donation is timely for the Ipatas Cup management team who are nearing the final stages of the competition. Competition manager of CCIC, Sam Coy, says that it is a timely gesture.
Puma Energy, I think they're here today to kindly assist the Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup with a donation of rugby balls, which it's much appreciated in this time of when a lot of businesses are facing financial difficulties through the COVID pandemic. We have Mr. Laka to actually be present with us to present actually 30 rugby balls for the Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup. So.
Puma Energy representative Gabriel Laka said the company is always willing to help rugby league competitions that are well organized and established.
These balls are match footballs, so we hope that this will be used to assist with the competition. We have supported them in the past in small ways as well. Also we support rugby union as well in rugby balls for the championships and stuff like that. It's a small way, but we like to support people who are well organized to make an improvement to talents and stuff like that.
Fidelis Sukina, Trukai Sports.
And that story wraps up Trukai Sports. Shaman will be back with the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Bye for now.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In the southern region, Port Moresby, mostly fine morning, then becoming cloudy with chances of afternoon showers. Daru, mostly cloudy with afternoon showers. Kerema, mostly cloudy with afternoon showers. Alotau, mostly fine with chance of afternoon shower or two. And Popondetta, mostly fine, partly cloudy. In the Momasa region, Ley, mostly fine. Medaing, morning rain showers easing, partly cloudy with evening showers. Wewak and Vanimo, morning rain showers easing, then mostly cloudy. In the New Guinea Islands, Lorengau, Kokopo, Rabaul, Kavieng and Buka, mostly fine. And Kimbe, mostly fine and partly cloudy. And finally, in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, morning fog clearing, then partly cloudy with afternoon showers. Goroka and Kundiawa, morning fog clearing, then mostly cloudy. Mendi and Wabeg, morning fog clearing, cloudy with some rain showers.
Weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that's the way it is this Thursday, the 21st of January 2021. On behalf of the EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.